All right, my friends, welcome to episode 303 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Twitter, and over there is Anthony, the dev at Summer Speak on Twitter. How you doing?
Doing okay. I am very full of peach cobbler right now.
Nice. I'm full of McFlurry. I rolled up to McDonald's and said, I'd like 2 McFlurries, and they said, what flavors? I said, I thought you only had one. I've not been there for McFlurries in a very long time, so.
I guess not.
Yeah, I didn't. Did you know there's more than one
Yeah,
flavor?
there's always been
All
more
right.
than one flavor of McFlurry.
Okay, then I guess
you get your mix in of whatever you want in there.
What
kinda
flavors
like-
do you think there are of McFlurries?
There's M&M. There is Oreo, or
Correct.
I don't know if they officially call it Oreo.
They do. Yeah. Mhm.
Is there Snickers?
No, that's Dairy Queen. Maybe
That's
With
Dairy
the-
Queen. That's Dairy Queen. It's because the McFlurry is basically a Blizzard.
It is, yeah,
Uh.
but they only have 3 flavors.
Okay, I don't know what the third one is.
Brownie.
Oh, okay. Brownie didn't exist last time. It was basically you had M&M and Oreo.
Right. So apparently they have 3. He was very
Okay.
confused, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll take Oreo and brownie.
There you go.
So we're both full of sweets. That's very good. But yours is
Yes.
probably homemade and healthy,
It is healthy.
quote unquote.
I would quote healthy in the fact that it's like melt a stick of butter in this
Okay.
pot.
Maybe not healthy, but homemade at least.
It is homemade and it's very good. And it was somewhat the end of peach season, and we hadn't had a peach cobbler, and it's pretty much a requirement for summer. So
Nice. Yeah, we've had a lot of peaches. No peach cobbler, though. I'm insanely jealous. Other things I'm jealous about. No, someone's jealous about. There's some segue here that I can't quite make. But Fortnite has stolen Among Us, and we're going to talk about it. Also, wow, Halo. Not launching with co-op for the campaign. We're going to talk about those 2 things today, and then what
Yeah.
we're talking about. Anthony, which one do you want to start with, Fortnite or Halo?
let's start with Halo, because it's just, I guess, a soft laugh at just the absurdity of this thing, of what was supposed to clearly have been a Series X launch game that just can't seem to make it out the door.
Just can't seem to come together for a
No.
number of reasons. So the news is that they announced that it's not going to launch with campaign co-op on launch.
Or the Forge.
Or the Forge, that's right, or Forge either.
Yeah.
And those are kind of 2 huge staples of Halo. Like, you play Halo co-op. I mean, I do.
That's the only way I've ever played it.
Me too. I've only played it co-op. I was looking so forward to playing the campaign co-op. Probably with Brad. Nope.
Not when it
launch.
launches, sometime in the following year. Which, it's just confusing to me. I'm like, I don't know why it can't do co-op. If you have the campaign there and your design have clearly, based on what I was reading, they're talking about these just aren't coming together right now. You're designing it for co-op. Curious what's breaking down. Like, what technical or mechanical reasons that they're just slamming up against walls that makes the co-op not work or shippable.
Right, something that's been so ingrained in the DNA of that game. It seems like that's like from the ground up what's there.
Yeah.
For me, it tells me this game is definitely coming out this fall, no matter fucking what. They are going to launch
Yep.
Halo this fall. So they're like, what can we jettison? Okay, everything's gone except for the free-to-play multiplayer and a single-person campaign.
Yep.
And even then, next we're going to hear it's only the first half of the campaign.
I mean,
Some
that's
shit.
possible.
Second half launches next. It's Game
To
Pass,
be
so it's
to be
series.
continued in the first DLC. Free
Yeah.
DLC. Like,
Ex-
we'll have a
mhm.
campaign patch.
Right. Dude,
I don't know.
What a
It's-
fucking rake.
It is just a train wreck of a project.
Well, and you know a bit about how, I don't know exactly how to say this, but like Halo or Microsoft Studio games come together. It's a lot of contractors that are on like 9-month cycles, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
So that seems like it contributes in some way.
Yes. I mean, I can say when I was looking at potential jobs after Ghostly Bear, and that was winding down, I was contacted by different recruiters, and at that point I was like, I'll get back to recruiters. And there was a UI design slash programming kind of thing for the Halo team. They never specifically said, like, no, they did when I called them on the recruiter was like, it's for Halo. But it was contract. And they're like, oh yeah, this contract will be, I mean, it was for that 9 months-ish thing.
Right.
And they were very cagey if you could stay on or whatnot. It was pretty clear. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. And now I'm just like, fuck. If so much of the people working on this thing are on those kind of contracts and like coming and going and having to take off, like, okay, I was there for 9 months, now I have to take 3 months off from the project, and someone else has to do that work. Just how screwed up this whole process is and how bad that is for making a game.
The amount of baton passes that are unnecessary, right?
Oh, like, yeah.
That I can't, like, all the transition points are just like are opportunities to fuck something up in any project I've ever been a part of, and nothing as complex as making a game, you know?
Yeah, no, they will fuck up. Like, that's guaranteed. Because any new person coming in to pick up the work, you're already slowing them at least by probably 8 weeks. I would say it usually takes about 6 to 10 weeks to get up to speed on a new code base, coming into it and being like, okay, what do things look like? What do I have to work with? What's already been set up? What needs to be set up? What tools do I have? It takes a while to get comfortable with that and start running with it. So,
and you're probably making mistakes the last person made and knew how to avoid in the future.
Yep.
And then you were just starting again, like, oh, what's this? Oh, it's already been solved 10 times, but that knowledge has not moved forward.
Welcome to the game industry.
What a fucking disaster, man. I'm surprised anything gets made.
So am I. Constantly solving the same problems again and again and again. Yeah. I'm sure it drives some people crazy and they leave the industry, which causes this exact problem.
Well, it is also interesting, and I think you can speak with it as well. Okay, for example, leaving the industry and going to work on software like Excel or whatever. I think it may be a code base that is like static. It moves or whatever, but like what it is. Versus like if you move from studio to studio to studio, you could be working with Frostbite or with whatever fucking Ubisoft's thing is, and you just have to. It's
just learn it.
Fuck, like you're just continually starting over.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure if other industries do that.
Yeah, and even if you're working with the same engine, let's say you move from like Unreal to Unreal to Unreal, different companies using it, they all have their own workflows in it. They've modified it for the game that they are making or the tools that they want. It's not like that's the thing. None of these engines you can just ship a game off the shelf. You're going to make changes and make pipelines and choices on like third-party software that you want to use to create your art assets, create your text for inside the game. Like maybe you want to spin that up if you have a very story-driven game with lots of multiple choices. Drive that through Twine and what it outputs and load that into Unreal and use it that way. So no studio uses the engine the same way, even if it's the same engine.
Well, that makes it even worse then.
It is. It's a mess. And
fuck. I thought that was like the easy out. Like everyone uses Unreal 4. We're good. Nope.
No.
Okay, how about if you're an artist? Like if you're just doing 2D art, you can carry that from place to place, right? And
most
use
of
your
the time,
software.
I mean, yeah, because most of would be Photoshop or some form of Adobe software, since they pretty much control all of that.
Yeah. Okay, so
if you know that's sweet, but I mean, even then, it could be who knows? They might have different tools if they're doing our processes for getting the art into the game, depending on like, is it hand drawn looking 2D art? Is it pixel art? Is it 2D art that's meant to look kind of 3D? Like, there's all sorts of things that have to be considered there. Usually the artist doesn't have to know that. They just have to know, I draw my things in this program like this. Someone else takes it and puts it in the engine.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Or they're a technical artist and they do it themselves. But yes, it's a mess. Yeah.
Okay, so this news coming out with Halo, other than making you chuckle, like what does it make you? Where's Halo at? Where is this campaign at? Like, are they
They're coming in hot, I expect.
okay?
That just makes me feel like the game is coming in very hot, and you're exactly what you said. They can't miss this fall, and they're just going to cut shit until they basically feel like, from a production standpoint, they're like, yes, we've worked back from our intended release date. At the rate that we're fixing bugs and just completing tasks, we can hit that date. So just trim tasks and bugs off that production board until it says we can be done on that date.
Right. Thinking about the exponential amount of bugs that come from multiplayer co-op, couch co-op, split screen co-op, whatever. Like, fucking get that off the table.
Yep, just get it off the table. Not even considering that. Get the Forge, and like, and you have to. It's been a while since I played Halo. Forge was the like tweak the multiplayer, right? Like, make whatever own maps, your own rule sets, just full on customization of multiplayer
where Griff Ball came out of and shit.
And so they're not shipping that. Of course not, because think of how many edge cases come out of that stupid thing. So yeah, they are literally stripping out all the things that are probably the riskiest for them right now, and will take way too long to finish. Maybe they jettison this and you get a super polished single player and a solid multiplayer, but it kind of feels like, is that enough in the end?
I mean, I don't know, because most people, I just think of Halo as co-op, but if you care about review scores, all reviewers are going to knock it just for not having the thing that it normally has, even if it's fantastic. So if you care about that shit, then you're already behind.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do bonuses based on that shit, but
yeah. I mean, they probably don't do it based on that. They just, I don't know. Each studio is going to be different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft bonuses are less about like review score and more just about sales quantity. Or
Game Pass subscribers.
Yes, however they want to value that. But that's even hard now because multiplayer is free. So
right.
I don't know. This just makes me go like, wow, this game is still kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Even a year later.
Yep. I mean, it's practically September right now.
Yeah, and it's just more the thing of being like what you said, that like, and is known, there's just been so much turnover in individual contributor roles, and there's just been huge turnover in management roles at that studio, that it's hard to make a game when that's constantly happening.
Yep.
And it's showing. I think it's showing a lot right now.
Sort of held together by duct tape. It fucking feels like.
When did the last Halo come out? When did the last Halo come out? That's 5?
Halo 5. Fuck, when was that?
October 27th, 2015.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 6 years by the time this thing's out.
And by the time the whole thing's out, maybe 7 years.
This is just, to me, like, you're going to have a retrospective on this and talk and just be like, this is a train wreck. There are so many things that are not working right here to make games, to make a game.
Danny O'Dwyer's in there making his no clip.
Yeah, they probably won't let him even touch it.
No, I'm sure they wouldn't. Oh my God. Speaking of, let's see, what transition can I make? Coming in hot? No. Pissed off people? No. Bad teams? No. Anyway, Fortnite stole Among Us.
Yeah, I don't think it's just out yet, but they did just straight up like, hey, look it's called Fortnite Imposters. And yeah, it is literally Among Us in Fortnite, which cool. Like, you can't trademark and copyright and patent game mechanics.
Right.
So cool.
But the map is really similar. What you
matter.
do,
the art style the only thing Legal System cares about is if they were lifting the Among Us art style. And
well, they're not.
Fortnite doesn't look anything like Among Us.
Yep.
Their map isn't a 1-for-1. It is different enough. It's also a 3D map. So for all legal purposes and the law, this is fine when it comes to
Well,
games. Like,
Epic has more money than God, so
Yeah.
obviously they had lawyers look at this. I mean, fucking never mind. Fortnite already ripped off fucking
PUBG.
PUBG. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So,
just I mean, yeah.
this is what
I
they do.
mean, it is what they do. And there's just a part of me that's like, yeah, sure, legally this is cool, but man, you're like the giant juggernaut of game, and you're just like stomping on these little tiny dev that made Among Us.
Yeah,
Because
that's kind of what it feels like for me as well.
Like,
Well, two things. One, like you're crushing this little guy. Two, like, can't you just make your own shit? God.
Yeah,
I guess when they do, they feel like they don't make something successful. They just steal what's popular. But fuck, man.
I mean, there's a part of it that I don't play Fortnite, but I've had other people who do and who have kids that have played it just explain it more to me. And I've had to shift my perspective on it of being like, oh, this is just a game, to being, no, this is a social network.
Oh yeah, totally.
This is
it's a place to hang out.
It is a place to hang out that happens to have some game stuff around it. And,
well, they made a separate section where it was just like, you don't even need to play
Yep.
the game. Here's just where you hang out.
Yeah, I mean, I actually watched a thing last week. There was a Ariana Grande concert thing inside of it, and I was like, I just want to watch what this actually is. It's fucking impressive. Like, and I know that they've done a few of these other things, but they're getting more and more insane with like the interactivity while these like virtual performers are performing this like 15-ish minute long segment. So like still playing games while this is happening, but you're all watching this concert together with all unique interactions and different, I don't know. It was like a crazy new kind of art form going on there. Spectacle.
Well, especially it's so, I think it's welcome during the pandemic where it's like, I don't really want to go to a fucking concert.
Yeah.
But like if there were concerts like this inside of a game that I actually played and a concert that I fucking cared about, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Like if the Foo Fighters were in Fortnite, you bet your fucking ass
you'd be there. You'd be like, I'm going to watch this. And so I get it. Like, it's a social network in that way, and they want to keep people in the network. And in some ways, other games take people out. So if they put the games in Fortnite, they won't leave.
You never leave
people, the people won't leave. Which,
yeah,
oh god, it does. I don't like the mindset that leads down at all.
No, definitely not. Epic likes it because then you don't leave, but then it's like it just becomes its own conglomerate.
Oh yeah, and you get things like this where it's like it doesn't feel ethically okay.
It doesn't ethically.
Ways.
Yeah, it's not even great. It's like ugh, gross. Also, just creatively, I would just feel like, what are we doing? We're just stealing shit from little guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been there. I've had stuff I've worked on taken. Look at Candy Crush. Like,
yeah,
straight up. I mean, they took Bejeweled and they were like, look at match 3. Easy mechanic to copy. Be honest, it's not hard.
Right.
Just throw your own shapes in there to pattern match, and there you go. You can make a match 3. And then they rode that to wild success. But honestly, at the time when they were like, yeah, Candy Crush got big eventually. But the thing is, it wasn't like PodCap wasn't doing incredibly well while that was happening too.
Right,
like,
right.
It wasn't like because Candy Crush came out, it killed Bejeweled. Not at all. Like, Bejeweled did very well, and honestly probably did pretty well with Candy Crush lifting Bejeweled sales a bit there at times. So that's a hard one where I'm like, yeah, it sucks that they took that idea, but the thing with casual games is you knew that was going to happen. And the reason why back at PodCap was focused on, well, we know people are going to rip off our games. Like, they're easy mechanics. Like, they're easy. People look on the outside thinking, like, oh, these are easy games to make. And we're just like, well, then we got to make our games really goddamn good and polished. So that when someone's looking for a game like that, they see ours and are like, damn, that's good looking, or
Well,
plays way better.
The look and style of the PopCap games were what drew people to them. Other than the mechanics were rock fucking solid, you know.
Yeah, and they were not really buggy. They were polished, like every little tiny thing. And like most of the companies that did like even Bejeweled clones, I play a lot of them, and they never got the gravity of the gems falling right. Like the amount of time we spent on how fast gems fall and like clack against each other at the right timing and everything is absurd. But it all comes together to a very holistic experience of feedback, and a lot of games just don't give a damn about that shit. I'll be honest.
Right, if you're trying to rip something off, you don't even notice those little.
No, you're trying to get it done in 6 months. That we always call like you do fast follows. It's like this thing blew up, really good, successful, especially in casual games. You'll see a slew of copies 6 months later. None of them that great, but they're just trying to capitalize. Other games that PodCap did that were not copied so much, like Peggle wasn't copied. We knew making that game that it was going to be very hard for someone to make a Peggle clone.
Just because of the physics of the ball rolling around?
Because they weren't true physics. They were our own, like, we started at like more true-ish physics, and then over like the entire development of that game were tweaked more and more and more to make it our own physics, more than like to make the game feel better, because people don't want real physics. Actually, we could give them
you want what looks like it or what feels like it. It's not really it, because if it was really it would fucking suck.
And that's why there's usually no pure randomization in any of PopCap games, because people hate pure random. Actually, they actually want to. If you get true pure random, players will reject it overall.
Well, because you're just as likely to get something that doesn't.
Yeah, it feels bad. It feels real bad, because you'll go on streaks of everything failing, and there's a lot of times when you're like, no, let's not make that happen. If someone fails, let's artificially boost the next thing so that there's a lot less chance that it fails. Because it's all just about building that feedback loop, because it's just psychology. There's a lot of psychology to it.
Wait. When I failed and the next time I did really well, it wasn't because I did really well?
Possible.
Okay.
Depends. I mean, Peggle does a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. If you start missing lots of shots, it will start slightly adjusting your angle within like a degree. Like pre-calc your shots. Not in multiplayer, but in single player, it totally will. They'll turn on little hidden handicaps in there.
Fucking aimbot.
Kind of.
Oh man, no, that's cool.
That's
smart.
But it makes people feel better. Like that. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like not supposed to take away the challenge necessarily, but it's definitely supposed to be like, we don't want you sit there just getting constantly frustrated. There's all sorts of weird magnetism on the free ball pit that moves back and forth at the bottom on like. Making sure like if it hits just to the side, like it might go out, it magnets back in, like weird stuff like that, to help. Dang. Because people expect, they're like, no, that should have totally gone in. And yes, we make it so it goes in.
Even if it really wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. But that makes it hard. There's a lot of those things that people that would try to copy Peggle just never see, and they just try to throw real physics on it and go, and it just doesn't feel good. So, I don't know. Like, all this happens, and I just look at this, and I'm like, the difference here is Epic is going to throw a shit ton of money at this, and a shit ton of developers, and I bet it's going to be so incredibly polished inside of Fortnite.
I mean, it's gonna be fun. Fucking Among Us is fun. This is going to be really fun, and probably, I mean, they're all easy to play, but like. If you know the mechanics of Fortnite, it's just there's no extra thought process really. Yeah,
and it feels bad that they're just taking it though from the Among Us devs, like, and just in a way of not reaching out. I'm like, what if this had just been like, hey, Fortnite Among Us? We are going to license it from them. We are going to pay them royalty.
Yep, that's what this. There's an article here from Deseret News, which is the Utah paper. It's talking about this, and it has the Inner Sloth, who's like, Our game is free on Epic Game Store. It would have been really cool to collaborate. Like mechanics, it says here, this is Victoria Tran from Innersloth.
Yep.
Game mechanics, fine. Those shouldn't be gatekept, but at the very least, even different themes or terminology makes things more interesting. Why not just collaborate with us? Like you say, yeah, exactly. That'd be a perfect solution. And it would make everyone feel good. Like we're collaborating with them to bring this to our game. You have more money than God. Give them some money for this shit, Instead of fucking just stealing it for God. Yeah, that seems like a misstep.
It does. But I mean, who's going to stop them? That's the thing.
Yeah, right. They can't be stopped because it's, like you said, it's legal. What they did is legal, but then you miss the PR piece, you know?
And do they care about the PR piece? I don't even know. That's the thing.
Probably not.
And that's the problem. There's just no, I'm like, I know what would, like, that would look better to go to them and try to collaborate and bring that in. But at the end of the day, whoever, if it's Sweeney making the decision or whoever on the Fortnite team makes the decision, go like, we could do that, but we could just do this art ourselves anyway, and it will blow over within a few days and whatever.
Well, like, they've already done that.
Yeah,
they have the proof. It's Fortnite,
Yeah. I don't know.
How often do you say Fortnite or PUBG anymore? How often do you say PUBG or PUBG, whatever the fuck they're calling it now, PUBG Battlegrounds?
Yeah, I mean they did it. Yeah, and that was only a few guys inside of Epic that were like, "Wow, this is really blowing up, this game mode. Do you think we could do that in Fortnite?" And they did it.
Well, yes, we can.
Yes, we could. They did it. The story is, from people I know that were actually at Epic at that time, were like, yeah, it was under 6 people that made the Fortnite Battleground mode. What do they call
it? Save the World. Wait, which one?
The original one was Save the World.
Yeah.
And what did they call what everyone just calls Fortnite
Battle Royale? Battle Royale.
Yeah, they might have just called it Battle Royale. That mode. But yeah, that was just made by a small group there, just seeing if they could make it. And they made it super quick, a couple weeks. Just use the tools to just basically redo those mechanics in Fortnite.
And it's taken over the world.
And it took over the world and is now a huge part of basically high schoolers and middle schoolers' lives. It dominates in that market. So,
right.
I don't know. It's crazy. I don't think they should have done it this way. It doesn't feel good to me.
Agreed.
It just does. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, guys, come on. We said they have more money than God. They could part with some of it to just be like, yeah, we're giving this to the Innersloth team to let us license the game.
Right. It wouldn't have cost them that much money.
Yeah.
But it would have cost them money that they didn't need to spend. So they get
exactly
to save $1 million or what the fuck it would have cost.
Whatever, so they can spend it on more free games.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Which one of was Among Us at one point.
Right, which was Among Us, exactly.
At one point.
Oh, God. Innersoft is like, damn it, we should never have given them our game for that. Because then they saw it and probably not.
But now I'm like, okay, what's the next thing that they copy?
Oh, God. In Fortnite, the next thing that they copy is Apex Legends Trio fucking deathmatch.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Yeah, I guess it would be that, or looking at the games that are like super popular. Oh, Fortnite is still on Twitch up there. Can't really do GTA 5 inside Fortnite.
No.
That's too much work. The next games are, I guess, Valorant. They could bring in a more hero shooter type thing. Because I think right now it's you just have different avatars, but they don't do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But then you'd like open up the whole Pandora's box of like, well, if you're gonna do that, then let me bring in my skins and give them the special powers. So I've got Kratos with Kratos powers versus fucking Captain America.
That's true.
Fucking, like,
they want to just keep it so everything.
Yeah. No, because then it's like, why don't you do that? Like, no, and then they would never shut up about why don't you do that? So
yeah, I don't know. A card game. They'll do some card battler inside Fortnite.
Probably.
I don't know, but clearly they have people just sitting there watching what's popular. Ugh, oh boy. So, yeah.
Speaking of what's popular, by the way,
What is popular?
you are playing the most popular MMO on the planet, apparently. Still.
I am. I still am. And I will be for at least a few more weeks. I'm hoping by the end of September, I will be through Shadowbringers and be ready for the expansion in November. But I'm loving it still. Like, even camping, I was like, I just can't wait to get home so I can play more. I like the story, like the characters. Mechanically, don't know how much I've talked about that. Mechanically, it is very much tab targeting, button press, global cooldown game. Like WoW. It's just slower than WoW, though. Maybe in my old age, I like the slowness of it a little bit more, less super reactionary. Some might even call it boring, but I don't think so. I mean, they just make it so that the global cooldown is longer than WoW's. Like, WoW's was like a 1 second global cooldown, and WoW, it's in Final Fantasy 14, it's at 2.5 seconds. So when you use an ability and it causes your global cooldown, you're committing to that. So I guess it's easier in that way that you're not speeding through key presses as fast, but you really care to make sure that you're doing the right key at the right time.
Feels like it makes it more strategic then.
A little bit.
You've got
a little
to
bit more strategic.
Think through it more.
Yeah. And they really like to use ground targeted AoE stuff. So there's just a lot of movement during the fights and moving out of cones and circles and just basically shit on the ground that you don't want to stand in or be around. So there's a lot more just dynamic movement.
Sounds like a game for people who like MMOs and geometry.
There you go. Yeah, in some ways. But I enjoy it quite a bit. I'm in Stormblood, whereas the last time we talked. But I'm 2/3 of the way through that expansion at this point. Still continues being really cool, having a good heart, being a kind game. And it's always has a queue for me to log in, no matter what time.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And it may not be a huge queue, like 30 or 40 people, and it clears in about 20 seconds. But there are times on the weekend when it's a couple hundred, and I'm like, this is a popular game right now. It's a really popular game.
Oh my god. It's just, if you've dedicated your fucking gaming life to one MMO and it's just like, ugh, and you're looking around the landscape and then you like, imagine like walking into this fresh for you MMO with this story rich, just like you get to, I don't know if you like reliving that experience of like, I don't know, falling in love with an MMO for the first time again or whatever, but it just feels like it has a lot to offer for people who got burned out from WoW.
It does. It really does. And as I've heard more people that I work with have talked about like what WoW has been doing in the last couple expansions. Yeah, I get it. It definitely, they're pretty soured on WoW, the people I've talked to.
Yeah.
Just in the last couple expansions, just being like, yeah, it's just not doing anything that as a player base, we wanted it to do. And there seems at one point it became the development team and the player became very detached. And the dev was just like, no, this is the game we are straight up wanting to make. We don't care if you guys like it or not. Like,
great, then we'll play a game that we like.
And it's just and it's a weird thing. But in the way of doing that, but also in a way of being like wanting to be less experimental and less drastic in changes. Like WoW, from WoW, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm, when I was playing it, every expansion was so dramatic in what it changed in the game.
Right.
So like those expansions felt like brand new games in a lot of ways. Because classes drastically changed, skill trees changed. They were not afraid to mess with systems like that. And it just sounds in the last few expansions they've toned down on doing that and just kind of kept running with similar mechanics on each expansion. Without
it's like an autopilot almost.
Kind of. Which in some ways doesn't surprise me. A lot of the core team had left a long time ago. So I don't know. Just hearing it, I was like, oh, okay. And an inconsistency in expansion and in patch timing. So like usually, I think someone put a graph together that was actually comparing Final Fantasy XIV's patch cadence between expansions, and then patch cadence in WoW, and like mapping it to the year that when these were happening, a month.
Right, like the year of the game.
Yeah. release
Timeline,
that.
basically, right?
Yeah, they're just the timelines for like when patches were hitting, and with Final Fantasy on the top of the timeline, WoW on the bottom of the timeline, and being like, there are times when WoW went through like almost a year and a half with no major patches.
Oh my god.
Like they'd hit the end of an expansion patch series, and it would still be at least another year to year and a half before the next expansion.
And there'd be nothing between
Nothing
the end
major.
of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Like just little bug fixes or whatever.
Bug fixes, maybe small changes, but there's nothing that they wrote up as significant, like this is a named patch. Where you look at Final Fantasies, it's like, oh no, their cadence is like almost exactly like expansion releases. Every 3 to 4 months there's a patch. Just cadence, specific cadence, adding a dungeon, adding a raid, adding a dungeon, adding a raid, like adding some story. And so like the gap between patches and like the next expansion is never more than like 3 or 4 months. It's just paced so that there's always new things showing up in the game.
Right. It definitely for a non-player of either of these games, just an observer from the outside, it feels like the golden age of WoW was in the past, and the golden age of Final Fantasy XIV is fucking happening right now.
It is, and it's definitely going into the future.
Yeah.
And I was curious because they're calling the expansion November is called Endwalker, and I was reading up and I was like, because there's been interviews saying this is the end of the storyline that we've been telling since A Realm Reborn back in 2014. I'm like, what does that mean? Is the game done? Like, is this the last expansion and there'll just be some content updates, like your normal patch cadence to a point, and then it's over? No, this is just, they're going to finish the storyline and they're going to kick off a new storyline in the patches to Endwalker. But it's going to be drastically different. Like,
oh man,
you should see it as this is the conclusion of a big 7-year story, and now we're going to start laying the prologue for what comes next. At one point, I was like, is this going to be Final Fantasy 17? Like, are they going to make 17 an MMO? And but I don't think so. I think it's just still going to be 14. But
I bet you on the documents they had planned for that, maybe. And then, like, no, why? Just keep this going.
Yeah, I'm curious if they'll figure out ways. I think the key part that holds them back now is the engine itself.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, will they want to do some drastic engine upgrades to make it prettier in the end? And I just don't know if they can do that and still call it 14, or if they'll have to make the next one.
Also, the idea of like legacy consoles where 14 came out on, I don't even know, but I assume
PS3
last gen,
I believe.
So
I think you could play it on PS3.
Maybe Destiny did it or some other game did it. We're leaving last gen behind with this new update for this title. But yes, I feel like they just went to a new title.
With the first expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, Heavensward, they stopped PS3.
So they've already done it then. Okay.
They killed PS3 support in you had until December 31st of 2017 to get a free upgrade to the PS4 version.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't just like say, hey, you guys are out of luck. It's like, if you want to continue playing, you need a PS4 and we will give you a free copy. You will get to upgrade your PS3 version to a PS4 version.
And thank you for paying that $15 subscription fee every month.
Yeah, basically those like, but yes, there's a point, and I still think they support PS4, and they will for the time being.
Yeah.
But there's very much could be a point where they're just like, probably in the next like 5 years, where they're like, okay, we are winding down PS4 support. The next, whatever the expansion is at that point, PS4s won't be supported again. So they've already done free upgrades for PS5 already. So
they have? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing is if you're going to end a 7-year arc and say we're starting a new one in the ashes of this one, like you must be planning for like 7 more years then.
At this point, I kind of feel like it. And like you said, it's doing incredibly well now. So whatever plans they might have had could theoretically change drastically.
That's what happened with Among Us. They're like, we're making Among Us 2. No, we're not. Trash
Never mind.
We're going to continue with Among Us.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think To any listeners or whatnot who like MMOs and everything, you should just give Final Fantasy XIV a try. Free trial is available. You can get, which will get you to level 60 through the first expansion for free. So
Really?
yep, you can just install it and play.
That's cool. That's cool.
And
That's cool.
that in itself is 120 hours of content if you're just doing main story. If you're just focusing on the main story. But yeah, it's a very generous free trial for people to try it out.
That's, you got to get the first, what is it? The first hit of whatever drug it is for free. Then you can come back for more.
You can come back for more.
Yep.
So that's all I've been playing.
Man, for the first time in fucking I don't know how long, I played 2 new games.
No, that can't happen.
What?
It can't happen. It's not allowed.
I know, it's amazing. The podcast is now skidding to a halt. I'll start with the first one. I'll start with Ghost of Tsushima, the expansion or the DLC.
Director's Cut.
Iki Island. Yeah, the Director's Cut. Thank you. Came out. And I was very confused because I have not been exactly following exactly how you upgrade. And I was trying to pre-order, and it was just a PS4 version, and it's $20. And I knew the PS5 version was $30, and I was like, "What the fuck? Where's the $30 version?" And I was reading online, and it was like, "You have to get the $20 version, then you can upgrade to the PS5 version the next, when it launches, or you can just wait and buy the $30 version." Like, why? Why is this happening? So I just waited, and it was there. It showed up the next day. I don't know why you couldn't pre-order that, but fucking whatever. So I installed it, and then loaded it up, and I don't know what the fuck I did with my PS4 version, but after I beat the main, I think I know what I did. After I beat the main story, I'm meticulous about save files. I have like 20 or whatever of different parts of the game, but apparently, like a moron, when I started New Game Plus, I saved my New Game Plus on top of my save file at the end of the game after I got all the Fox Dens, all the fucking Shrines of Honor, Pillars of Honor, whatever, everything. So my latest save file is probably an hour and a half, my latest one, hour and a half before the end of the game, which is then like 5 hours before I collected all that shit. So it's like there's like 8 hours of shit that's gone because when I did New Game Plus and then saved on that file, it's New Game Plus. You're not back at your old island. It's the new fucking game. So that sucks. So I was a little pissed because I'm a moron. So, okay. At the end of the game, I had, for platinum in it, you get something that I wanted to have, and I had probably another weapon or something like that I just wanted all the shit that I had earned to go into the Iki Island expansion. Okay, fine. Then I'll just go to New Game Plus, and I have all my shit there. Then I'll just go to the Iki Island expansion. No, you can't go to the Iki Island expansion until you beat Act 1 of Ghost of Tsushima, which I've already done in the regular game. But no, I have not done that on the fucking New Game Plus yet. So I was like, okay, I could just plow through the main storyline to get to where I can go to Iki Island. And I looked at the clock. I was like, then I'll be done with my game time tonight. I want to fucking play it. So I just loaded up an old save file where I hadn't beat the game yet and just went to Iki Island. It's like, fuck it, whatever. So that was needlessly complicated, mostly because of my incompetence with save files. But that aside, the PS5 upgrades on a 4K screen are fucking noticeable. It looks, I mean, it already looked good, right?
Yeah, no.
It's fucking amazing, dude. It looks so crisp, and it loads like that. It is so quick compared to what it was before. And then you come into the new area, and it feels designed for a PS5 showcase. Like you get to the island, and it's just like open and go anywhere you want, and it looks beautiful, and it's just lots of water and forest imagery. It looks great. So the first quest that you have to do, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but it's very touching, especially if you've beaten the game.
Okay.
Or gotten from Act 2 to Act 3, I guess I should say. So it's pretty cool. It's like I don't want to spoil it. It's cool.
Okay.
It's just fucking cool. And then that game just fits like a glove. Like I played for like just a couple minutes and I remembered what all the buttons did, and like the combat felt very fluid. There's new mechanics. There's like a shaman that does some incantations where the enemies you're fighting, the Mongols, have like extra power, and they have some new moves, some new mechanics. So it's fresh. I guess it's only like a 3-hour campaign, which is a-okay with me. School starts tomorrow. My game time is already small. It's going to be drastically reduced, so it's cool with me. But it made me realize, like, I haven't, other than Mass Effect, I haven't played anything this summer really at all, except for with my daughter. And as soon as this came out, I wanted to play it immediately and just play. And I was like, oh, this. I don't remember if I made it my game of the year that year. I probably did, but if I didn't, I should have, just because it's the game. I fucking love it, man. It's so good. So started that, and then the other game I'm playing with my daughter is Miitopia, which came out on Switch, I don't know, maybe a month ago or something like that. But it's basically an upgrade, I think, of the 3DS game, where you can create, you're using Miis, and you create a RPG party of 4 characters over, you gather the 4 characters, and every time you come upon a new character, you get to make them. And I thought it'd be cool for my daughter, because back when they announced it, I'm like, oh, she could make like a baby Link, or she could make like a mommy, or she could make herself. No.
Oh no.
Oh
no.
No, this is good stuff. It's nothing bad. But when we had made Mario Golf, or when we got Mario Golf, and you can play as a Mii, I was like, who do you want to play as? And she's like, Dave Grohl. Okay, you want me to make a Dave Grohl Mii so you can play as Dave? Yes. Okay. So she doesn't want to play as Toadette. She wants to play as Dave Grohl. So then we start Miitopia, and it's like, oh, you can use a Mii. So I open up the Mii thing, and it's only Dave Grohl, and she just loses her mind. Yes! So that's Dave Grohl in the game. And then Dave Grohl is what's in effect a bard, but they call it a pop singer. So it's just Dave Grohl with a guitar, or not guitar, with a microphone, wearing a blue outfit, which he's like, it's just like his blue guitar. And he sings, and that's how he attacks. And she's fucking loving it.
Holy cow.
Yeah, dude. And then you meet your first character that you can recruit for your party. And I'm like, who do you want to be? She's like, I want it to be Taylor Hawkins. So we make it Taylor Hawkins. And then the third person was, for some reason, I don't fucking understand this. It just happened to be a song we were listening to when we were playing. But she puts Rebel Rebel by David Bowie on repeat when we play. So we play for an hour. That's our time limit. We play for an hour. And it's Rebel Rebel, which is a 5-minute song, repeating that whole hour. And if you've listened to Rebel Rebel recently, I don't know if you remember it.
I know it. Not recently, but I know the song.
Okay. So my daughter had me learning on guitar for her. It is the same riff over and over and over again for 5 minutes. So it's literally the same riff for an hour. Over and over and over again. So then the third character we met, she's like, make it David Bowie. I'm like, which David Bowie?
Yeah, that's true. That is a good question.
Like, she did not know what I meant. I'm like, okay. She grabs her book, The Story of Rock. She's like, this one. I'm like, I don't. There's no face paint. I'm sorry.
That was a Ziggy Stardust type.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it was. I'm like, that's not happening. So we did our best, and then the fourth one, I was like, okay, my rule. The fourth one has to be a female rock star. I don't care who you pick, but it's got to be a female. So she picked Gwen Stefani. So we have in an RPG, we've got Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins, David Bowie, and Gwen Stefani, and they all have different class. Like David Bowie's the warrior, Gwen Stefani's a thief, and it's just fucking hilarious because they are nonstop talking and like interacting and having dinner together and having food together and sleeping together and like being like super in love with each other. It's like Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins are just horny for each other in this game. And my daughter's just cracking up the entire time because her rock idols are all interacting and going to these. Like, she loves rock and roll, and she loves fucking adventure stories, and it's like just mashed up in this thing. And I was like, this worked out way better than I thought it would. That's all she wants to do, man, is play Miitopia.
I think you've just sold me on Miitopia. Nothing has sold me on this game until you've said this, and now I'm like, God, I kind of just want to make crazy teams because that sounds hilarious.
It is, especially when you got, if you're doing it with, family or whatever, or friends or whatever. And the mechanics itself are pretty simple. For the most part, but then you have different jobs for your characters. Taylor Hawkins is a chef, or a classist, sorry. Dave Grohl is the pop singer, which is the bard. Taylor Hawkins is a chef, so he cooks food and gives everyone HP. Gwen Gwen Stefani's thief, and then David Bowie's warrior. Yeah, but then on top of that, you have personalities. So like you could be cool or energetic or stubborn or whatever, and that gives you special powers as well. And then when you work with someone like Fire Emblem, basically, like you create synergies with the person you're working with, and then you get new skills on top of that. So there's kind of a lot of ways that you can mix and match how you play. So it seems like there's some replayability, and then there are the battle mechanics are started off simple, like just like hit A, attack, whatever. But then it starts throwing in different enemy types and some pretty strong enemies early on, where it's just like, I'm getting my ass kicked. Okay, I need to figure out some strategy here. So it's not just like a simple kind of fun romp, but there's actually some meat to the RPG piece of it. The story is just like there's an evil guy who looks very similar to Vex from Sackboy's Big Adventure.
Okay.
So my daughter wanted to name him Vex. Like, all right, so we have fucking Vex in this game. Yeah, dude, it's been a blast. We're just playing the demo. We haven't even bought the game. I have not bought the game. We've been playing a demo for 2.5 hours now. And as soon as we get to the end, we're just like, oh, you're done. I'm gonna have to buy it because I just want to see if she would like it. And she's just, this is her game of the year at this point.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so Nintendo nailed it, man.
Yeah, I've never been sold on this at all until now, and now I have. So,
oh my, one more thing, sorry. So they're in the overworld, like they're running through, and there's like a random encounter, and you go into the battle or whatever, like an RPG does. They're talking to each other nonstop, and at one point, several points actually, in different ways, Taylor Hawkins asked Dave Grohl, "Dave, did you toot? Ew!" And my daughter is just rolling on the ground. I'm like, oh my god. Whoever wrote this knew that 6-year-olds were playing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Crazy. To answer your question, though, about Ghost of Tsushima, it was not our game of the year. I'm pretty sure it was close, but it came out the same year as Hades. So.
Oh, fuck, never mind.
So
yeah,
I think it was like 2 for you, and it might have been 3 for me. It was in my top 5 for sure, but it wasn't Hades. So.
Oh man, I forgot Hades came out last year. Yeah, no,
it did.
No, Hades deserves it.
It's just one of those things. I'm like, no, Ghost of Tsushima is really good. I'm like, but it also makes me like, fuck, like, it's been like a year since Ghost came out originally.
Can you believe that, man?
No, god damn it.
That came out in a time that I thought was like deep into the pandemic. No, dude.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
I know exactly. But I was like, I like. My wife and like they went off on like an Airbnb vacation where they're like, isolated by themselves. Yeah. I was like, fuck no, I'm not leaving the house. You guys do whatever you want, but you're gonna catch the plague, whatever. I'm staying here by myself. And it was like 3 days where I just played Ghost of Tsushima and ate fried chicken, and I had the best time. Great game, great food.
Those are the best times. God.
Oh my god, it was amazing. But yes, Hades is by far superior.
Yeah, no, which actually makes me sense. Now I'm thinking about it, because it's now out on PS4 and everything. It's out on every other platform now.
I feel like I want to platinum. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I will platinum it by playing it, or if I do the cross save, it'll like pop trophies for me. I'm not sure.
That is a good question. I'm sure Google would have those answers.
Yeah, because Google had the answers for Ghost. I just loaded my save and everything popped except for 2 photo mode trophies, and when I did those 2 things, I got my platinum. Like, well, that was an easy platinum.
Standard. I'm trying to see what the really hard trophies are. I think it's just do everything.
Yeah, it's just time consuming, which is fine because it's a great game. But if I can shave some of that time off with the stuff I've already done, because I got a ton of trophies on Steam.
Yeah, I'm actually looking. There was the hardest one is if they require you to get all of the stuff, the building aspects, and there's one statue you can only get if you beat Heat 32. And that's, okay. I was never able to do that. There's a trophy at Heat 16 and a trophy at Heat 32. Not trophy. In the game, they're kind of trophy statue things that then... But I'm like, do they require you to build everything? They may not, because that's an absurd amount of grind time to do that.
Right.
And
they might be generous with their trophies.
They could be generous with... I'd have to check. I'm not seeing it at first glance, so maybe they are nice. That'd be great. because I feel like I could actually platinum this game if that's the case.
Yeah, it deserves it. Speaking of old games, and this is not an old game. Obviously, Hades is not old. But did you hear this weekend that Hollow Knight had more concurrent players than it's ever had before?
I saw a brief thing about that. I did not know what that was about, though. Like,
Yeah,
why?
it's about that. And I don't know. I don't know why. But that's cool. It's a great fucking game.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just encourage them to get Silksong out.
Please.
Look at everyone loves your game still. Just make Silksong, or it makes them too afraid to put Silksong out.
I know, like the sophomore release, you know?
Yeah, being like, never mind.
It's got to be scary. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up my fucking trophies for fucking Hades, but I'm not having luck here.
Yeah.
Oh well, I got a bunch of them. That's all I'll say, I guess.
Yeah, that was a good game. I've considered starting that one again, but I will say I'll continue to talk about Final Fantasy XIV over the next few weeks. I'm trying to keep myself focused on that game. Like,
yes, stay on the path,
finish the goddamn story on that one. Don't deviate until I get to the end of that, and then I can play whatever the hell I want. But
exactly. Well, is there anything on the horizon that's new that's coming out that?
Not even on. I mean, I guess the horizon is Metroid Dread in October.
Yeah, that's October. Yeah,
but that's October. I don't know, so I'm not going to be playing D2 Resurrected. So not a whole lot in September, I don't think.
Unless Bubby Kodak's getting fired in the next month.
We can do a nice aside here, real quickly at the end of the thing of being, there was some tweet going around today that like someone said they had an inside scoop on leaks on what's going to happen with Blizzard. I take it all as like they're bullshitting here, but they're like, Activision's going to dissolve Blizzard.
That would be crazy.
They're basically, Activision's going to dissolve Blizzard, the name, brand.
Yeah.
Set up a new company that will continue Diablo 4. As that is a game that that the Activision management feels like is okay. They're going to cancel Overwatch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Any content from that was just going to get rolled to Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
WoW goes into maintenance mode.
Yep.
That doesn't seem too far out of there. Like, that was the one I'm like, yeah, WoW's going to go into maintenance mode. Hearthstone moves to a less CCG-ish card release set type things and focuses on like the auto battlers type stuff that it was doing. That honestly see what most people play there. A lot of people play there now. But basically the whole thing was to like just dissolve the company and get rid of most people.
The problem with that, I mean, there's lots of problems, but the problem with that is that it's not treating the problem. It's
not. I don't think it's true, any of it, right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I don't think that's happening. They said this would be happening in 2022, so I don't think it's going to happen that way. I could see some of that being true. WoW to maintenance mode, yes, totally can see that. If player numbers are really tanking now as hard as they say, just the acceleration of people leaving, then yeah, there's no reason to just be dumping resources into it. It's done. It's over.
Right.
So just put it in maintenance, patch it every once in a while, fix bugs, keep it running. But yep, it's done. Overwatch 2 wouldn't surprise me if they just scrapped it, actually.
It wouldn't surprise me either, in the least.
In a way of, because they were supposed to be compatible with Overwatch, the first one, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if they're just like, that was a bad plan. We're just going to continue to update Overwatch with that content and not call it Overwatch 2.
From my perspective, there's no reason to have a 2.
Yeah.
Why? Other than to sell another $30 box or whatever.
So, I don't know. So I take some of it as like, there's probably some truth behind some of this, but the whole thing of, they said they were going to be dissolved and then Activision were going to start a new company called Insight, from the remains of it, with most everyone who was working on different games just gone. And so
they're just going to they're using it as an opportunity. If this were true, they would use this as an opportunity to just completely trim their payroll.
Yeah, trim their payroll, hire new people in, sign the games out to new teams, fresh blood.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can see it, dude.
I could see it eventually. I just don't see it that quick in that way. But who knows?
I mean, the name Blizzard is what's attached to all this, even though Bobby Kotick and Activision is just as fucking guilty, you know?
Yep. So who knows? They'll just be like, and out to all of this. But I don't know. That was something that was just briefly going around on Twitter. I couldn't really find any kind of corroborate kind of evidence anywhere else. No one's really running with it. It's just like some forum post where it really could just be someone just making shit up because too. But it got a little traction, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yep. We both have friends who work there.
Yeah.
And I wish them well, and I hope that they continue a long, fruitful career. That said, I hope that they can do that while also being true that I don't care if Blizzard disappears from the face of the fucking earth.
Yeah.
So, I want those people to have jobs somewhere else, but the name Blizzard means not much to me besides bad things at this point.
Yeah. Yep. So,
sucks.
no D2 resurrected.
Mm-mm.
Without that, there's not a whole lot. There's a WarioWare coming out.
Yeah, and there's a demo you can play and see if you like it.
Yeah. Tales of Arise, a big popular JRPG series that's coming out. Deathloop is coming out.
Yeah. Right?
Really? Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't want to. It says it is, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah, I believe it. But man, we're entering the fall when it's supposed to be huge bangers, and it's like COVID really.
I think it's October. Yeah, October is where I'm gonna be. Metroid Dread.
Yep.
It's coming out then. Battlefield 2042, which I'm curious about because of its Portal
$70 multiplayer. With which mode?
The one is it called Portal? Portals. I'm probably butchering that. It's some other. It's basically where you can just do crazy rule sets. So you can have future Battlefield stuff and like all the different battlefields from like World War II and everything, and so you can just like mash it all together into like crazy modes. And like the trailer, I was like, I wasn't interested in this before, but this makes it interesting because this is going to just be absurd and fun. It just gives people the freedom to make their own game modes, and that looks really cool. So there's again, I don't know if it's like, oh, I'll be there day one to play that, but it could be fun.
Yeah.
And that's a multiplayer game. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd play that with people if we were just screwing around and doing stupid things.
Right. Yeah, that's a smart way to do it too, because it's a $70 price point for the multiplayer game. But if inside of it you had an engine where people could make really compelling shit, like you would just get the player base to sell it to the player base.
Yeah, here it is. It's called Battlefield Portal. Discover unexpected battles and enter the wide universe of Battlefield in a community-driven platform that gives you the power to change the rules of war. The possibilities are endless when you can customize weapon, gear, rules, and more in this creative sandbox mode. You can get stuff from Battlefield 1942, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield Bad Company 2, and 2042 all together. And it has a visual programming language. So you can actually make like pretty crazy mods to this whole thing.
People are going to rebuild Bad Company 2 in this game.
Potentially.
Huh.
So, not the base game, but that specifically excites me just from a like purely like show me some crazy shit. Like community, people that want to make things, I want to see crazy stuff. Show it to me. I think it's a pretty fascinating idea. And they've said that they're going to bring more Battlefields into that as well over time. So
right. It's not just going to be those 4 or 3.
No, they've said that they'll expand them with additional content from other games, the other Battlefield games as well. So
right.
It seems smart. And it definitely sets it apart from the other franchises, big shooter franchises.
Right. Well, yeah, and also the free-to-play multiplayer experiences, which I think are just going to kill it, but maybe not if it has something compelling.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's just the only thing on my radar is, well, it was Halo. Well, it's still, I don't know, might still be Halo, but Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
So Metroid
Yeah.
Dread. And I don't think Horizon Zero Dawn's coming out, or whatever the fuck it is. Forbidden West is coming out.
No. It's pretty quiet over, I think, even for this holiday season.
That's fine.
You can get Skyrim again.
Oh my god. Seriously, dude, what the fuck? I saw that they're re-releasing Skyrim. I was like, you're re-releasing a game you've already re-released?
Yep. They're doing
Multiple
the anniversary edition, which is funny because and if you already own it on Steam, I already got upgraded. Skyrim upgraded to like whatever it is now, whatever remaster they did.
Yep.
That it gets upgraded again to this anniversary edition.
Cool. I mean, I've had
you
it on Steam since
you get it
came out
again. So,
awesome.
and they're gonna add PS5 support and Xbox Series. I'm like, okay, well, you can just keep riding this game throughout. I mean, why not? My brother-in-law has like 6,000 hours in it, so you know.
My God,
sure,
that's
he's
cool.
Not the only one. So
no, fuck no, yeah, no, of course not.
So, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like a very exciting holiday overall. A couple games here and there that I want to play, but it's not like new game, new like AAA constant coming through. So
yep.
Well, cool.
We'll find things to play. You'll be playing 14 forever, and I'll still be playing Ghost and Mass Effect.
There you go.
All right, folks. Thanks so much. This was episode 303 of Prof and Dev Play Games. He's at SummerSpeak. I'm at Prof Plays Games. If you like our show, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. Tell a few friends, and we shall be back next week. I'm hoping to discuss the new final Smash Brothers character, but probably not. We'll see.
We'll see.
See you next week, folks.
Later, everyone.